Hey everyone, welcome back to the NY Patriot Show. If you're a returning listener, that's what's up. If you like this episode, hit that like button and share it if you don't mind. If you're a new listener, hit that subscribe button now because I'm almost positive you're going to like this show, and there is plenty of other topics I myself have covered on my own show and plenty of amazing guests as well that I've had on. So I definitely think you're going to like this channel. So definitely hit that sub button. Today, as you can see in the title, we're obviously talking about the number 17 again. This time I wanted to look at it in a different way. I kind of wanted to start pulling up dates and just look through dates. I do think there are some weird things in there, quite possibly. But I do think, by the end or when I start getting down the road, all of these things might start fitting into the puzzle and understanding what the hell is up with the number 17. I would like to add also before we get going into this episode, this is all just my commentary. This is just my opinion. This is how I see things with my life experiences from what I've been through and from going through the internet and just looking at other things with the number 17. This is just my opinion. I could be totally wrong or it could be totally right. It is all just theorizing and tossing ideas out there and just trying to figure out what's up with this number because I do think there is something behind it. So I just wanted to make that, say that again to let people know I am not an authority. I could be off. This is all just commentary and theorizing. So, this one is pretty much dates of things happening. I tossed in a couple of random things in there. But, this one will be pretty much just dates, and it's really only for 3 months as well. I'm only doing 3 months at a time because this would end up being way too long, and I didn't want to bore people or myself trying to record it. So, let us begin. So here we go with the first one. The Premier Grand Lodge of England. The organization known as the Premier Grand Lodge of England was founded on the 24th of June, 1717, as the Grand Lodge of London and Westminster. Basically, this is the beginning of Freemasonry, or so to say. This is when Freemasonry supposedly started. How truthful is that? I don't know, but they do supposedly date it back to June of 1717. And then here we have Pope Pius VI. Just an interesting fun fact with him. He was Pope from February of 1922 to February of 1939, making it 17 years. And I think if you want to get exact, it was like 17 years and a few days, actually. It was like really close. I found this one interesting. On July 17th, 1777, George Frederick Handel's orchestral suites in F major and D major, collectively known as his water music, received their premiere during a royal cruise down the River Thames from Whitehall to Chelsea. So that's interesting. And it's July 17th, 1777. So even if you choose the number for July, you're going to get 71717. So I found that interesting and worth noting. Plus, this is his music too, if you've never heard it before. I think we might have all actually have probably heard that at some point, and it sounds familiar. Here we have a little fun fact, fun holiday. July 17th is Yellow Pig Day. So we have on the 17th, we're supposed to celebrate yellow pigs, I guess. It is unclear why the day was called the Yellow Pig Day or what a yellow pig has to do with the number 17, though legend has it that it is a reference to David Kelly's collection of yellow pigs. The mascot of the holiday, the yellow pig, has 17 toes, 17 eyelashes, and 17 teeth. 17, a number with special properties. It does also mention that 17 is a prime number that has significance in mathematics. It is the sum of the first four prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, and 7. 17 is not always a special number. In Italy, for example, 17 is considered unlucky. That is something I will actually get into and cover as we go on. But yeah, we have that. Pig, 17. 17's got a whole lot of 17 stuff going on with that pig. Here I did want to note real quick, which I thought is interesting. You can see up here at the top. I know the White House isn't exactly on it, but it is 1 block away from 17th Street as well. I thought that might have been a little interesting to add. Then if you do go look at the Washington Monument, which I would like to add, looking at this picture, if you can see it, to me, that is a Vesica Pisces symbol right there where the monument is standing. That is also the shape in the middle of the Otio Laman. I also think that shape is used as a third eye. I also think if you think of that shape and then you think of the Washington Monument, you can see some sex magic symbolism going on. My opinion, it is really basically showing you the two halves of your brain, your pineal gland, and the white light that you're going to shine down the middle. We turn that into sex so people don't understand it. But besides all that, it is actually between 17th Street and 15th Street. Figured I'd add that in. Why not? I thought that was interesting. I mean, and even if you look at the way this whole area looks, almost kind of looks like an owl. Maybe owl eyes, bird eyes. Very weird. And here we have King Alfonso III of Aragon invades Minorca. That happened January 17th, 1287. He invaded Minorca. An invasion on the 17th of January. And so, because of the king taking over that country, you do get their national day on the 17th as well. The Minorca National Day, January 17th, 2022. And because of him taking over Minorca, their national day falls on the 17th as well. The national holiday is on January 17th. And here, what I find this one very interesting. On this day, January 17th in 1377, Pope Gregory VI returned the papacy to Rome from Avignon, France. So on the 17th in 1377, the papacy went back to Rome. This one, another interesting one, though, at least that I thought. The United States takes possession of Wake Island in the Pacific Ocean. January 17th, 1899, we took over Wake Island. And then right here, as you can see, I'm kind of cutting off part of it, but when you look on the side, you can see even Wikipedia is saying January 17th it was claimed by the United States. The El Yunque National Forest, as you can see highlighted here, wasn't established until the 17th, January 17th. This I thought was actually very interesting. On January 17th, 1946, the United Nations Security Council held its first meeting at Church House, Westminster. The 5 permanent members were the UK, USSR, China, France, and the US. An American bid to include Brazil was vetoed, while Germany was a defeated nation. The key task was restoring order to the post-war world. So on January 17th, 1946, the United Nations Security Council held its first meeting. Interesting. We also have here A horrible, horrible thing that happened. British Airways Flight 38 on the 17th of January. The Boeing 777 did crash. So we do have a plane crash and a Boeing 777 going on. And here we have Christopher Columbus. April 17th, 1492, Spain and Christopher Columbus signed the capitulations of the Santa Fe for his voyage to Asia to acquire spices. So on April 17th, 1492, he was given basically permission to voyage to Asia to acquire spices. Thought that was worth noting. April 17th, 1492. And here we even have Giovanni di Verrazzano. Interesting, think about the Verrazzano Bridge. Giovanni di Verrazzano, native of the castle in Greve, was born in 1485 to the Florentine noble. Verrazzano was the first to explore the east coast of the United States of America. April 17th, 1524, he reached the New York Bay. So that is another one for the 17th. And then we also have here the Treaty of Shimonoseki. But Japan, on April 17th, 1895, between the Empire of Japan and Qing, China, is basically ending the First Sino-Japanese War. The peace conference took place from March 20th to April 17th, 1895, and then the treaty was signed. And then here we have the superstition one for Italy. I did mention that before. 17 is considered a bad number. And the reason for that it's considered to Italians to be an unlucky number is when 17 is viewed as the Roman numeral X5II and then changed anagrammatically to VIXI, just changing the position of the numerals, you will get your answer. Why? Because when you change it to that, it means in Latin, I have lived, I lived, implying your life is over. So to them, 17 isn't a good number. Immigrant Sirhan was convicted of the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy. April 17th, 1969. And then another one for April 17th. We have this day in history, April 17th, 1970, the Apollo 13 returns back to Earth. And then here we have the Constitution Act of 1982. On April 17th, 1982, Queen Elizabeth II and Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, as well as the Minister of Justice, Jean whatever, and blah, 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 signed the proclamation which brought the Constitution Act 1982 into force. Basically, from what I got out of speaking to my co-host, Teresa, in 1982, they kind of gained their independence to where I do not think they have to technically, their laws do not have to match the United Kingdom's anymore. The United Kingdom puts in a law, it does not mean it has to be enforced in Canada. But I just wanted to include it because it's signed on April 17th. And we might find a couple other things being signed on the 17th. And then here we have Edward Stafford, 3rd Duke of Buckingham. He was convicted of treason and executed on the 17th of May, 1521. And you also don't want to forget to add the 7-Year War. The 7-Year War, it started on May 17th, 1756. So you got 17 in there, and technically you even still, you could throw another 7 in there. Kind of almost reminds me of that guy's music before, the 7 and the 17. But all coincidence. And here we have Muhammad, not the Muhammad Ali everybody may be thinking of. Muhammad Ali becomes Wali of Egypt, May 17th, 1805. Basically, Wali of Egypt back then was like a governor, president. You basically kind of ran the place. So on May 17th, 1805, Muhammad Ali becomes Wali of Egypt. This one, I find this one to be very interesting, and I actually truly like this one. Long before the World Trade Center towered over Lower Manhattan, an American sycamore or buttonwood tree on Wall Street was the tallest thing in the area and the center of commerce. May 17th, 1792, under that very tree, the 24 stockbrokers and merchants signed the so-called Buttonwood Agreement, establishing the parameters for trading in the first incarnation of the New York Stock Exchange. And here we have it, just showing you somewhere else. Right here again on Wikipedia, you can see it was signed May 17th, 1792. And then we have next another signing. We have the Constitution of Norway. Can't leave those people out. The Constitution of Norway, signed on 17th of May, 1814. So we have another constitutional type thing being signed on the 17th. And this one, you gotta love this one. This one I particularly like also. The International Telecommunication Union. The International Telecommunication Union is a specialized agency of the United Nations, responsible for many matters related to information and communication technologies, which I find weird somehow. That stuff, I mean, I guess maybe they knew about what was coming down the road. Or maybe back then, I wasn't alive back then. I don't know how communications were run. Maybe it was better than I thought it was. But, yeah, this was established on the 17th of May in 1865 as the International Telegraph Union, making it the oldest UN agency. We have, in case you didn't know, back in 1875, the first Kentucky Derby race takes place on May 17th. Yeah, races 1.5 miles in a field of 15 horses in front of a crowd of 10,000 spectators. So 1.5 miles, 15, a field of 15 horses, 10,000. I don't know. Some funny numbers going on there, but I could be, you never know. Could just be coincidence. This one, for all those Wizard of Oz fans out there. In case you didn't know, the book itself, as you can see here to the right, the publication date for The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum was published May 17th, 1900. And then we also have the Protocol of Corfu. Real quick, May 17th, 1914, when there's agreement between the representatives of the Albanian government and the provisional government of Northern Epirus. Again, it was just another signing, as basically stating land in the area. It's not a constitution, but then again, I just find it, I do start finding it weird how many things getting signed on the 17th. Not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything, but I do find that interesting. And then here, in this next one, on the 17th of May, 1939, the United States' first televised sporting event. Now, I do also want to make it clear, there had been worldwide things already, broadcasted before this. But on May 17th, 1939, this is the United States' first televised sporting event. A college baseball game between the Columbia Lions and the Princeton Tigers. Lions, Tigers, and Bears, oh my, was broadcasted by NBC from Columbia's Bakersfield. Just wanted to include that one in there. And, the Lions and Tigers kind of reminds me of what we just saw before. Wizard of Oz. I found this something worth mentioning. May 17th, televised Watergate hearings begin. So they started televising Watergate hearings on May 17th. And the funny thing that I thought about it is that, May 17th, they started to broadcast that stuff. But it happened on June 17th, 1972. So the scandal happened on the 17th and got broadcasted on the 17th. I don't know. Conspiracy or just a coincidence? The General Assembly of the World Health Organization, the WHO, eliminates homosexuality from the list of psychiatric diseases. May 17th, 1990. That one happened. This one I included. It's a little bit of a weird thing, but Sean Timothy Nelson, who also died on the 17th, was an American veteran who stole an M6083 tank from a California Army National Guard armory in San Diego, California. And he basically went on a rampage, and that was May 17th, 1995. It was just a random 17 I wanted to toss in there. It's another one. It kind of almost reminds me of what I just covered with the homosexuality thing, but not. On May 17th, 2004, Massachusetts became the first U.S. state and the sixth jurisdiction in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. So we have a 17th kind of going along with homosexuality 2 times. So I definitely had to include that. There was the Murchison, however you even say that. It was just a natural disaster. I thought it was interesting to include. It was on the 17th of June at June 1929 at 10:17 a.m. And it was a magnitude of a 7.8 earthquake. Like I've even said before, you start looking at the Kabbalah, you start looking at spheres, you start looking at these numbers, the 7th, 8th, 17, all these things. It could be a stretch, but I don't know. Maybe those numbers and stuff tell you some type of code in the matrix. But I wanted to include that one just for all the funny numbers going on there. And then right here you have it again, the earthquake, 1929, June 17th. 7.8 on the Richter scale. So then we also have the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. It was signed by President Herbert Hoover on June 17th, 1930. The act raised U.S. tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods. Whatever. I just found it weird. It's just another thing signed by a government person or a country on the 17th. So I included it. Yeah. Here we have the Kansas City Massacre. Another unfortunate thing. Kansas City Massacre was the shootout and murder of 4 law enforcement officers and a criminal fugitive of the Union Station Railroad Depot in Kansas City, Missouri, on the morning of June 17th, 1933. So it was another unfortunate, weird event that happened on the 17th. And here we go with another unfortunate one like I had covered before. Here we have another plane crash. United Airlines Flight 624, unfortunately at 1:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on June 17th, 1948, crashed. Unfortunate, But again, another plane crash on the 17th. And not that this could be like very conspiratorial thinking, but they did also they had 43 occupants. 4 was the crew. They had 39 passengers. Unfortunately, you turn that around. It is 93. But again, that could just be conspiracy or coincidence. Could be just a coincidence. And then here we also have Decree 900, also known as the Reform Law, was a Guatemalan land reform law passed on June 17th, 1952, during the Guatemalan Revolution. Again, just another thing being signed on the 17th. So that's why I started including these all, because I do feel like a lot of these are just, too coincidental maybe. There a lot of signing, a lot of laws, a lot of weird stuff with that on the 17th. And here's another one. Abington School District versus Shemp. Abington School District versus Shemp was a United States Supreme Court case in which the court decided 18-1 in favor of the respondent, Edward Shemp, on behalf of his son, Ellery Shemp, and declared that school-sponsored Bible reading in public schools was unconstitutional. And that went into effect and was decided on June 17th, 1963. And here we have the STS-51-G. Some 5G up in there. STS-51-G was the 18th flight of NASA's Space Shuttle program and the 5th flight of Space Shuttle Discovery. The 7-day mission launched from Kennedy Space Center, Florida, on June 17th, 1985. So again, we have 7 with 17. Conspiracy or just a coincidence? I found this one to actually be kind of weird and very interesting. Last dusky seaside sparrow dies, unfortunately. June 17th, 1987. Orange Band, the last dusky seaside sparrow dies on June 17th, 1987. Basically, I'm guessing that pretty much made it instinct, but it was June 17th. June 17th, 1987, and went extinct. The one thing I found about this thing that was very interesting is that it wasn't discovered until March 17th, 1872. So it was discovered on a 17th and then went extinct on a 17th. Whoever would have seen that coming? And here we have the 17th parallel. In Vietnam, the 17th parallel was the provisional military. It was like the military line between North and South Vietnam. You even have that, the 17th parallel. That I just threw in there for the number 17. Had nothing to do with the date, but I thought that was interesting and worth putting in. 17th parallel. And here we have, again, another unfortunate one. Here, Interflug Flight 102 ended in a crash on the 17th of June, 1989. The aircraft, while attempting to take off from Berlin, East Germany, crashed into obstacles on the ground and costing 21 lives. So June 17th, 1989, 21 people died in the Interflug Flight 102. June 17th, 2017, a series of 4 initially deadly wildfires erupted across central Portugal in the afternoon. I just included that one to kind of go along with some of the, natural disasters, or what we consider to be natural disasters that were going on. Oh, this one we can't forget about because it's just recently. Juneteenth. June 17, 2021, Juneteenth became a federal holiday. And then here we have the Sicilian, The Sicilian Martyrs were a company of 12 African Christians who were executed for their beliefs. July 17th, 180 AD. And then we have Pope Damasus II. Was the head of the Catholic Church and ruler of the Papal States from the 17th of July, 1048, to his death on the August 9th. But again, he came into power on July 17th, 1048. And then we have, by the 17th of July, 1429. 17th of July, remember that, 1429, Charles the 7th, 1707, was crowned the King of France in Reims Cathedral. Getting some more of that 7 and 17 action going on. And now we have the Battle of Castellon. The Battle of Castellon between the forces of England and France took place on when? The 17th of July, 1453. Figured I'd toss that one in. It sounds like a nice day to have a war, right? The 17th? Or a battle, at least. Oh, this one. Harvard. Harvard School of Dental Medicine. When was it established? July 17th, 1867. And then we have NEC. The NEC Corporation, when was that founded? The 17th of July, 1899. The NEC Corporation is a Japanese multinational information technology and electronics corporation, headquarters in Minato, Tokyo. Included that one for a couple of different reasons. One, it's just, another thing popping up on the 17th. And it is another kind of communications thing popping up on the 17th, like I had mentioned earlier. Then we got this one here. Mr. King George V was on the throne during the outbreak of World War I. Obviously, there was a significant anti-German sentiment that made the royal family's German background difficult in the eyes of the public. As head of the nation, it was expected of the king to be a strong figurehead for the British people, so the family name needed to change. King George V made a proclamation on the 17th of July, 1917. The name Windsor was decided upon due to the strong connection to the royal residence, the Windsor Castle. So on the 17th of July, 1917, King George V took on the name of Windsor. And then here we have Nicholas II of Russia. July 17th, 1918, he passed. And he was the Emperor of Russia, the King of Congress Poland, and the Grand Duke of Finland. He died on July 17th, 1918. And he was the last emperor of Russia also. And then, to top it off, we have Peter III of Russia, who died 17th of July, 1762. You can see, right on the side, died July 17th, 1962. He was an emperor of Russia who was overthrown by his wife, Catherine the Great. So we have another Russian emperor dying on the 17th of July. Figured I should add that in. Then we have the Altona Bloody Sunday. Unfortunate, it was another... the name is given to the events of the 17th of July, 1932, when a recruitment march by the Nazi SA led to violent clashes between the police. 17th of July, 1937, Nazis and the police. And we have another disaster, Port Chicago disaster. The Port Chicago disaster was a deadly munitions explosion of the ship SS E.A. Bryan that occurred on July 17th, 1944, killing 320 sailors and civilians and injuring 390 others. It was just another random disaster that happened on the 17th I figured I'd throw in. Then we also got some nuclear testing. We have Little Feller nuclear tests. Little Feller 2 and Little Feller 1 were code names for a set of nuclear tests undertaken by the United States at the Nevada test site on July 7th. And would you know it? July 17th, 1962. Some more 17 and 7 for you. And I thought this was a funny random one just to toss in. Hamlet's world largest flying pig celebrates 17 years this balloon fiesta. And to just add to other things, we have the Constitution Act of Finland. Publication date, 17th of July, 1919. This is the official consolidated translation, the Act number 94 of 17th of July, 1919. So, another thing signed on the 17th. Then a date in this history, another unfortunate one. July 17th, in history, the largest number of United States midshipmen casualties in a single event results from an aircraft crash in Florida, killing 44 people, unfortunately. But that is another plane crash that happened on the 17th. And I had to toss this one in for all you Disney lovers out there. Disneyland opened, what would you know, July 17th, 1955. Disneyland opened up on a 17th. Most stuff. The Soyuz and Apollo flights launched within 7.5 hours of each other on the 15th of July, 1975, and then docked on the 17th of July, 1975. This was us and the Russians both going up into space. They both landed on July 17th. And we also have the National Minimum Drinking Age Act. The National Minimum Drinking Age Act of 1984. Well, it was passed by the United States Congress and was later signed into law by President Ronald Reagan on July 17th, 1984. Another piece of paper being signed on the 17th. And then we have, again, another unfortunate disaster. TWA Flight 800. People maybe from, Long Island or New York, might remember this more than other people. But on July 17th, 1996, we had TW Flight 800 crash. July 17th. Another plane crash on the 17th. Then we have the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Is the treaty that established the International Criminal Court. It was adopted at a diplomatic conference in Rome, Italy on the 17th of July, 1998. Again, another piece of paper being signed. And again, not to make it any more weirder, but then we have Alliance Air Flight 7412 was a scheduled Indian domestic passenger flight from Calcutta to Delhi, operated by Indian regional airliner Alliance Air. On July 17th, 2000, it crashed. And then here, an earthquake occurred on July 17th, 2006. It was another earthquake. Thought I'd throw that in there. The 2006 Pangandaria earthquake and tsunami. July 17th, 2006. And here we have just another one. TAM Airlines Flight 3054. Unfortunate event. July 17th, 2007. The Airbus 8320-233 serving the flight overran runway 35L at Sao Paulo during moderate rain and crashed into a nearby TAM Express warehouse adjacent to a Shell filling station. The plane exploded on impact, killing 187 passengers. So 7/17/2007, 187 people unfortunately died from TAM Airlines flight. So here we have it, not to make anything any weirder from where we were going already with the plane crashes, but we also have Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 that crashed, was shot down by Russian forces on the 17th of July, 2014. Why? While flying over eastern Ukraine. All 283 passengers and 15 crew were killed. Contact with the aircraft, a Boeing 777. Again, there we have the Boeing 777. Just like I covered or mentioned before, the Boeing 777 was involved in another plane crash. And then here we also have, it was just another, could be a random thing, the Dengwin rail crash. The Dengwin rail crash occurred on the 17th of July in 2014. It's just another one of those random things I just wanted to toss in there. Don't know if there's anything behind it or not. And then we also, to wrap it up here, our last one, 2015 Khan Bani Sad bombing. A suicide car bombing occurred on the 17th of July in 2015. So there. That was basically, like as you can hear before, I did throw in some random weird things that really weren't kind of fitting the other ones. But for the most part, this was also only 3 months of stuff that I may have been able to find more. But that's what I came up with. I will be going into the other months. I don't know if that's something I'm going to be doing in the next episode. I don't want to drag this out in case this isn't interesting to people. But I will be covering the other months. I don't even know what's to come. But I will say, and I'm not trying to, make things up or be some outlandish conspiracy theorist. And again, this is all my theory, my commentation, my ideas on the number 17, and the things around me and the stuff I'm looking at. This is just all my ideas and theories. But I do find what I've shown already, and I hate to say it with the plane crashes, I do find that it'll be a little weird. But then again, that could just be coincidental. But I guess we'll see going forward. And another thing, though, that the papers signing, government signing laws, Constitution, acts, I found that all very coincidental that stuff happened on the 17th as well. Again, maybe conspiracy or coincidence. Who knows what's coming when I start doing the next months. But honestly, in my opinion, if I start seeing the same things and the next one's coming up, I think we may have something. But then again, who knows? I could be completely wrong. It could just be a coincidence. But that is the end of this another 17 episode of a long-going series, if it will ever even end. I thank you all, like again before, if you're a returning listener, I really appreciate it. That's what's up. If you like this, hit that like button, share it, pass it on. If this is the first time you came across the show, and if you were even looking for stuff like this, or just randomly came across it and you're still listening, hit that like button and hit that sub button. No matter what you were listening on or if you're watching it, hit that, because I'm pretty sure you're going to like everything else that I put out and some of the older stuff that I've put out. Like, again, I have mentioned I've had some amazing guests on my show, and I am starting to cover stuff on myself, and I am starting to cover stuff on my own. So hit that like button and hit that sub button. I'm pretty sure you're going to like other stuff I put out. So that is the end of another 17. And again, just to reiterate, thank you all for listening or watching. And that is another thing I do want to also say. If you happen to be listening to this, I highly suggest to go check out the YouTube link or my BitChute link. All those links for all the video and audio and podcasts, all that stuff is in the bottom notes. So if you're listening, I highly suggest go check out the video. At least you can see what I'm talking about. Some of these things, yes, I do think you can just listen to or whatever. You don't actually need to see it technically if you're taking my word on it. But if you want, you can actually check out the videos and see what I'm talking about. So, I'm not just making it up. I try to show my receipts when I talk about things. So that's just a reminder for the people that are listening. We got the Rejects and Friends, the new YouTube that came out. Fourth time's a charm. 3 of them also have gotten banned already. But knock on wood, supposedly this one's doing okay. And I think maybe tossing in those disclaimers and just letting people know, like I said before, this is just my theorizing and my commentary on these things. I don't know everything and don't claim to. And that reminds me, since I know I don't know everything, for all you people out there that are watching and listening, if you happen to hear anything or see something that I might have missed with some of the stuff I covered, please go ahead and add it to the comments. I love that stuff. I think it's great. Again, like I said, I don't know everything, and I'm just one piece of the puzzle. We all got pieces of the puzzle. So if you got anything to add after listening or watching, please add it in. And again, if you enjoyed it, hit that like, subscribe button if you're new, and share this stuff. That is the end of another NY Patriot episode. Thank you all very much for stopping by and listening again. Until the next one, everybody be well.